Hi, third graders. I know you can't see me. I'm going to show you the book we're reading today in a second, but I want you to think about the word trendy. Okay, so something that's trendy is usually something that's really cool to have right now. A lot of people are out buying it. People really want it. All the kids have the same thing, right? So, thinking about what might be trendy, it might be trendy to that, people were buying hoverboards for a while, right? And everybody wanted a hoverboard and people were spending lots of money on them and they were really cool. Or it might be trendy to wear a certain type of clothes, okay? And something that's trendy will usually like phase out. So when I was in high school and such, it was really trendy to wear overalls. And then for a long time, it wasn't cool to wear overalls, but now they're coming back, right? So that's something that's trendy. And when we think of things that are trendy, we have to kind of think about what are things we need versus what are things we want. Do we need to have the things that are trendy or do we just want them? So I want to stop for a second and I want you to think about what are the things you need in your life? And what are the things you want in your life? There's a difference here. All right. The book we're going to read today is called Those Shoes. All right. And this is a book that is going to kind of talk about our needs versus our wants. Okay. What are some things that we have to have in order to live? And what are things that we want that just make us happy? All right. So looking at the cover of this book, these shoes, take a minute and what do you notice? All right. What do you notice about the kids in the picture? What do you notice about the top part of the picture here? All right. Um, we have a group of three boys together and one boy alone. Specifically, what do you notice about these three boys here? And then maybe what does this boy's whole expression tell us? Look at his face. Look at the way he's walking. What do you think is going on there? All right, Those Shoes. And this book is by Mary Beth Boltz. It's illustrated by Noah Jones. All right, so just here, based on this opening picture right here, what time of year do you think it is now? Those shoes. So before I even read, look at this picture. All right, so our little boy is over here, all right? And he's staring up this way. What's he staring at and what is it saying to him? I have dreams about those shoes, black high tops, two white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Do you agree that boots are needed for winter, especially where we live? You need boots. Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. So what's the boy noticing about all of his classmates? And how do you think it's making him feel? Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size, Velcro, like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think any kid ever watched. When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs, and so do Terrence, Brandon T., and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and I turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes, and my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might bust. So why is his grip on his pencil so strong right now? What's going through his head? And Grandma, if we come back here, Grandma said, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." Was it kind of Mr. Alfrey to give him shoes? I think so. Especially because his shoes broke in school. How many people in school might have an extra pair of shoes kids could put on if their shoes broke? So should he be grateful for what he was given, or should he have the feelings he's having right now and breaking the pencil? Or is there a right or wrong? Does he, he's probably validated and feeling what he's feeling right now, right? In school, it's hard to be different, and he's seeing himself as different from his classmates. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I've got a little bit of money set aside. Might be enough, you never know." At the store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. So what does that mean, she sits down heavy? Look at Grandma's face right now. "Maybe they wrote it down wrong," I say. Grandma shakes her head. So what did they notice about the price of those shoes? Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoe except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. So in case you don't know, a thrift shop is someplace where you can go and bring shoes or clothes that are in really good condition that you don't want anymore. And then they will sell them to other people. So the third thrift shop. So now Grandma's even letting him take her all over town to all these thrift shops. And it says at the third thrift shop, I see something in the window. What do you think is in the window? Black shoes with 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes to hitch up my baggy socks. "How exciting," Grandma says. "What size are they?" I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. "I don't know, but I think they fit." Look at his face right here. And he's curling his toes to get his heel in. Do you think they really fit? Or is he just being super hopeful and wanting to make them fit no matter what? Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of the shoes. "Oh, Jeremy," she says, "I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit." I put the other shoe on and try to walk around. "They're okay," I say, holding my breath and praying that my shoes will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. Praying that my toes will fall off right then and there, but my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on, and I limp to the bus stop. Why is he limping? At home a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. "Sometimes shoes stretch," I say. Grandma gives me a hug. So what's a word you might use to describe how he's feeling about his shoes? And he says, "Sometimes shoes stretch." So what's he trying to even tell himself right here? What's he trying to get himself to believe? I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfrey shoes to school instead. One day during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio's there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. What does that tell us about Antonio if he's the only kid who didn't laugh about the shoes? We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoes smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think, I'm not going to do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it, I say. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. What are they talking about? He's not going to do what? Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, she spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I am awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. What do you think he's up thinking about? And he says here he's trying on his shoes one last time. How come? Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall, and I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at Mr. Alfrey's shoes. So here he's having conflicted feelings, right? So he's super happy to see his friend smiling and with his new shoes on, but then he looks down at his own feet and he gets angry. So sometimes we have different feelings about different topics, and that's okay, right? He's learning how to kind of think about what he feels and why he feels it. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there's snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall. That's when I remember what I have in my backpack. My new boots. New boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race. So, what was the lesson in this story about needs versus wants? Okay. So he really, really wanted the shoes. He wanted to fit in with everyone else. He really wanted to be a part of his classmates and wear what was cool for right now. Um, so he really wanted them. And he figured out a way to get them, even though it didn't work out in his favor. But then what did he learn about need? Right? His friend Antonio had a need. So what did he do for him? And how did he help him out? All right. So, just take some time to think about what are your needs versus your wants. And, be super grateful, because I have a feeling that quite a few of you get a lot of the things that you want. So just think about that and think about being grateful for what you have. But then again, think about what could you possibly do to help some other people. All right. So that is the book, Those Shoes. Hope you enjoyed it.